do yours first?
Yes, we're going live right now. Okay. We have the bald Avenger in the house, also known as Coach Jason Cisneros. I'm so thrilled, and I picked that one just for you because I thought, oh yeah, that's such a, Service Hero 300 and all the things that you do out there with the Misfit Nation. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, it's absolutely my pleasure. Just happy to be here and just loving everything that you're doing, lady. It's kicking butt and taking names, right?
Yeah, you bet. Did you get a chance to see this morning's opening act that Skip Thomas put together with MJ Raven?
And the guy is amazing, right? The guy is amazing. Like everybody that's been doing this, I mean, that has stepped up and has decided that they're gonna support you has done such an amazing job. And I'm just sorry, I'm sharing as we
No, please do. We want share. Everybody share.
Yeah.
Please share, because in truth, this is a give-a-thon. And we have two. You asked the very first leadership meeting that we had with the team, which I'm proud to say most of the people that showed up for the first one were there at the last one. And that was pretty exciting that we had such a dedicated group of people. And
yeah, but let's be honest just a little bit. We have some pretty fun times there. Like if you get in on your team, it's not going to be just like normal stuff. It depends. I mean, the mood can go from red wine, it can go to scotch, it can go to tequila. It goes all over the place while we're back there doing work. What do you got, Perrier? I'm not going to say how much Perrier looks like vodka, but
Yeah, well, I do have a few more hours to go, so I think I need to be, careful.
You need what do they call them? I have some friends actually. I'm going to bring some people on, and we're just talking about healing through the power of comedy tonight, and I've got some friends of mine that are going to be joining us that are people that I have laughed with and people that have seen some crazy things in their lives, and just like you. I mean, I think the thing that I love, and I don't know if I'm interrupting your flow of the show here, but the idea is that if anybody knows you, you have this amazing effervescent personality. It's very difficult to find you not smiling, right? And this entire thing, by the way, it's shared on my page. So Misfit Nation, get out your wallets. Come on, here we go. So, but I want, this is the point. Like, we've got some comedy routines that I could do and that kind of stuff, but we're going to do some live stuff for you in 2020. We're going to do some really great stuff, but I wanted to talk about the power of it and just sort of use you as this amazing example of somebody who has been through life, had her ass handed to her multiple times. Just like everybody watching, right? And what you've chosen to do by this, if anybody doesn't realize what's going on here, this is 36 hours of back-to-back content. 35, 36. Yeah, exactly.
36. Yeah. And I'm going to be here the whole time. This is commitment. No question. Yes.
Right. So a lot of people will show up, and I just want to make sure I'm over here watching the comments and whatnot. But okay.
Oh yeah, we already have some comments starting up. So let's I'll start them here, and you can start them there, and let's see.
I just can't see them on yours. Maybe we'll I'll have to pull it up. But anyways, so my point being is that you've got this amazing deal, and everybody knows Giving Tuesday is coming up, right? And the great thing about Giving Tuesday is it gives everybody an opportunity. We get hit up. Let's not lie, right? We get hit up all year long. And we get hit up for different things, and we all have giving hearts, but sometimes we got to pay the rent, like we got to pay the bills, and there's so many things going on. We don't know which ones to give to. We don't know what, blah blah blah. And you have committed, and the thing that I love about this charity is the fact that you have committed to. It's not about a cure for cancer, right? Which a lot of people, when I start talking about the subject of cancer, there's like, okay, well, there's not any money in curing it, so why would they do it? That's not what your organization's about.
No,
what your
no,
organization is
no.
about is that when and if you or someone that you love gets cancer, there's a sequence of events that's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
You're gonna get scared as hell. You're gonna, there's certain things that are gonna happen that are sequential and predictable for who? For someone who's already been through it, which was you. And so you experienced that, and you went through the pain and the frustration and this being scared and the financial push of it and not knowing whether you were going to live or die. And am I doing the right thing? Should I go naturopath? Should I go chemo? Should I do surgery? Should I, like, all the stuff that goes along with this idea? And what you were missing in there was an advocate. You were missing an advocate to be able to say, hey, you know what? We all look, here's my thought philosophy is that none of us are getting out of this thing alive. So how we go is a mystery, but we're all going.
Right. Yeah.
And so when you looked at that, you said, you know what? As you worked your way through it and you fought back, because you're one of the hardest fighting women that I've ever met in my entire life. As you fought through that, what you did was you looked around and you said, it would have been nice if I would have had somebody in my back pocket that would have known how, that could have helped me through that process. And instead of going online and going, nobody loves me and nobody takes care of me and nobody, like, no, why doesn't the government step up? You just stepped up, right? And that is, you stepped up and you said, chemo buddies for life. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put together so that nobody has to go through this process alone ever again. I'm going to be a chemo buddy. If you're going through cancer, if you're going through chemo, whatever your situation is, you're in the scariest portion of your life. You don't know how you're going to pay the bills. You're running low on resources. Look, arms out. Here's what we're going to do.
Right.
And I just want everybody to know and understand that I don't put my name behind that many. I support a lot of charities, but I don't put my name behind very many. In fact, there's 3 officially right now, right? 4 officially, and yours is one of them, and it's because of what you do and your genuine dedication to it. You have committed your entire life to this.
Yeah.
And the lives that you've changed, and I've seen the buddies and I've heard the stories and I've seen the looks on their faces as they talk about their despair, and that there was somebody that was an angel named Tamara Hunter that showed the fuck up in this lifetime, and that's an inspiration. And what I want everybody to hear tonight is that you've got it in you. Tamara has used her life as an example for the rest of us to be able to step up, to be able to step out, to be able to not just whine, complain, bitch, moan about our situation, but to do something about it.
Right.
And the impact that can have, even if it's on one person, can be life altering. Right.
Right. Absolutely. One person. And absolutely. And in truth too.
Did I get your tears? Yeah,
you did. Yeah. You did it. Yeah, you did it. How far into this was it? 9 minutes? Okay. Yeah. Okay. So the truth is, though, because you're hitting chords, you have to have that why. And in truth, I have a why, not only for myself, but I have generational whys. And it's my mother that I could not do anything about. She lived, the room I'm in right now was her room. Yeah, I was going through chemotherapy at the time. That's what I chose. I chose traditional, but it doesn't matter to us what type of treatment anybody chooses. Mm-hmm. Well, she ends up with pneumonia. They have to take her out of the house. Little did we know that the pneumonia was because she had bone marrow cancer. And then she ends up with super bugs. And I'm going through chemotherapy. And it just continues to go worse. And the bottom line is this, that she became a screamer. And this is a woman that literally was genius. I mean, she was not in her right mind. She's screaming out, and they're calling me, and I didn't even have a voice. I had to be in isolation in my own room. And they're like, "What are you going to do about this?" And I'm like, and literally, Jason, I will not stop because I think of my mom being alone and afraid and not having myself, and my daughter at the time was possibly reoccurring because she had been a cancer survivor already at 19. She was diagnosed, and we could not be there for my mom because we were both compromised and she had superbugs. So that lets you know that the determination to see that no one faces this alone, it is so deep. It's even deeper than my experience when it's someone that you know and you love and you can't do anything about it. I vowed, I mean, it's like that Gone with the Wind vow, me and mine, that it's no one's going to go through cancer alone, and
Well, and I love that. And that's your commitment, and everybody gets it. You know what I mean? Like everybody that meets you gets it. So, you enter a contest, right? You enter a contest and you decide ahead of time, like you enter a contest that's nobody's ever seen it before. It was a great, first shot at this idea of becoming an impactor. And what you did was you decided ahead to win, right?
Yeah.
Just like you've done with this show. Because I have a lot of charities that reach out and they're like, hey, we're going to be on Giving Tuesday. Like, would you mind, sending us $100 or $1,000 or, $1 million or whatever, whatever they ask for. And at the end of the day, I'm thinking in the back of my head now, because I've watched you work your ass off, right? I've watched 25, 30 people that showed up and did hours and hours and hours listening to my dumb ass and putting, taking on responsibilities and watching, like, for the last, how many months has it been now?
Let's see, we won August the 30th, and then we started, I think, at the end of September. So September, October, November. So, nearly 3 months, 2.5, 3 months, somewhere in there, and every week.
Right.
And they're putting in just the meal meetings, 3 to 4.5 hours a week, plus then all the work that they're doing, which is countless hours, and that's
countless hours. Yeah. And to see that, and then have somebody go, hey, I'm going to doing a Giving Tuesday thing. I'm like, holy shit, what, like, is that your work? Like, it took guts to reach out and to ask, right? But I'm thinking in my mind, oh my God, we've got 36 hours back-to-back content that you have put together. And I'm telling you, putting together a show and being part of shows and all that other kind of stuff, that's exhausting, just getting people to show up on time, right? Especially me. Well,
I know I am linked into the right person.
Yes, you
are.
Who to
contact.
Yes, you are. If you know Danielle, then I'll show up on time. If Jason Sisneros says I'm going to be there,
Oh, you're good. You're good. You've been good. You've had my back. That was one thing I will say. Our first phone call, I'll never forget. After winning, you said, okay, so let's talk. And then you're like, okay, I got your back. And you have, and I appreciate that so much, because in a nonprofit, that's huge, because we are in a world of interesting stuff out there that's going on. I don't know if you've got that, if you've got any of the shows yet, but there was one that, there's some interesting stuff going on.
Yep.
But it's real. And that's why I'm thrilled with the shows that we've created, because we've got a good balance. And I'm thrilled with the team that right now we've had some glitches, and yet they've been taking care of them. They've been, lickety split. We've got a calling team. We've got, a technical team. We've got so many people that are behind the scenes, even right this minute.
Right.
And that says something, because it's all about what the mission is.
Right. And the mission is to make sure, like, and here's how I feel about, here's how let me put my business mind on for just a second, right? When we talk about it from the back end of this deal, that money is an accelerator. Okay. Money is an accelerator of a good idea, and money is an accelerator of a bad idea. You lose lots of money on a bad idea, it accelerates it out of business and accelerates the loss of your money, or it accelerates a good idea. And what I in my younger years, when I was more flippant with my dollars and other people's dollars, if I'm going to be honest, right? It's, oh, everything we touch is going to turn to gold, and such horse shit. There's a strategy, there's a plan, there's execution, there's discipline, there's honesty, there's trustworthy, there's integrity, there's transparency. If those things don't exist, if any one of them is gone, then it's going to be difficult for an entity or an idea to go through to fruition, right? Which is the whole purpose and point why my consulting company has done so well. Right? It's because of the processes and those procedures. All we did was bring that to your organization, somebody who has all of those other qualities, and we plop down a system on top of you, and you have run wild with it. So,
and we're just starting. Just wait. I mean, and we have someone that's just arrived right now.
Well, good.
Yeah, yes. Can I bring this person up to the line?
Before she comes in, just really quick, I just want to do a quick introduction of her. Because what I wanted to do was, this segment is about healing through the power of comedy, right? And so this person that I'm going to bring on, one of the videos that her and I both have together that have the most views was her and I sitting there on screen for like 30 minutes doing nothing but laughing. And she's a cancer survivor, and she is a very powerful single mom who has raised children, who has been to the depths. And I just want to bring her on because, like you, how she deals with things in life is that she deals with it with a smile. So let's bring her in.
Okay, let's bring her in. Hello.
Hi. How are you guys?
Is that Danelle Delgado?
Hello. I was watching you on my drive home. I love what's happening.
You're welcome, Danelle. You're welcome.
You made my whole night, really my month.
Awesome. Well, look, I don't. Did you hear the intro, or is it delayed on your side?
I heard it.
Oh, good. Okay. Well, I just wanted everybody, because again, it's healing through this segment is healing through the power of comedy. And you and I, it doesn't matter where we're at, if it's on the phone or over a text or in person or on stage, you are somebody that I just laugh my ass off with constantly, right? And and I was telling them a little bit, but we went outside to shoot. We're like, oh, let's go do a promo video. We're together, we're together. Let's go do it. What was the hotel? It was the Venetian, or no?
No, Caesar's Palace.
Oh, Caesar. Hello. Caesar. Right?
Yeah.
How can you forget?
Yeah. So Caesar was somebody that we were actually laughing about most of the time, but we were sitting out in the freezing cold. And the idea here, Tamara, was for us to do a video, and it was just going to be a quick, hey, two powerhouses together, do this, add this into your life. It's what we do all day long and every day and twice on Sunday. And we could not give one piece of good advice, because for a solid hour, or I don't even think it might have been longer,
maybe
we just laughed.
Oh, and I love it.
No marijuana, like no Maui Wowie, no booze. Like, it was just hilarious.
Yeah.
So Danelle, just talk to the audience just a little bit about how comedy and through how laughter. Give them just a snippet about the things that you've been through, and let them know kind of what your background is.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, comedy is the key to heal everything in your life. Laughter, they always say laughter is the best medicine, but I really think it comes from joy within can heal anything. It's 100% the truth. And so, yeah, I came from trauma. I came from a divorce that I wasn't planning on. We never plan on it, right?
If I was to get married again, if I was going to get married again, I would definitely plan on it.
Terrible. Well, it depends. Some people are really good at planning it, but it wasn't ever in my scope of things. And so, when life happens, you either let it take you out, or you decide to saddle up and make it a ride. And so that's what happened. I got divorced, and I got thrust into business because nothing I had done before made any money, and I couldn't feed my kids. So went from that, kind of got through divorce, ended up making it in sales and did really well and made all this money, and then hadn't finished the divorce. So then the divorce took, you know, a lot of it, had to start over, rebuilt it, and then found out I had cancer and was like, okay, let's do this thing, right? You know, what are you going to do? And I also didn't have health insurance at the time. So, you know, what are you going to do? You either sit there, roll over and die, or you decide to like enjoy the ride. But it actually was the gift that made me have life and remember that I loved life. And I wanted to jump out of airplanes and I wanted to travel the world. And, you know, most people, you know, can look at it and think, hey, I'm going to die. And I thought, hey, I'm going to live. And then I made it.
Well,
you know?
and I want to make sure everybody understands. I mean, you left that divorce, you end up zero furniture in an apartment. And, you know, and what most people would be doing is crying their head off. Like, I know a lot of people, they're just defeatists. And that's what I wanted this segment to be about, was to let people know, not that if you are stuck in the shit, because I guarantee you the three of us on the screen have been stuck in the shit at different times.
Yeah.
But if you are, look at what can happen. You know what I mean? Look at what can happen, because they didn't have any, so she built tents for her and her kids, and she made a game out of it. While you know, not knowing how she was going to feed them, how she was going to pay the next month's rent, you know, and then got cancer and was able to fight through that while building a business, and has been, you're just an inspiration to a lot of people. And what you have in common with Tamara is that you've smiled through it. I mean, not all of it, because, you know, I've gotten some of the texts that were not smiley.
I
maybe cussed a little bit, but the rest was all smiling.
Come on, I've had a life, you know, because, but I love it. I love it, you know, and yes, that you have to get through it, and I love it. I love your story.
Yeah.
So give everybody, and I know you literally just got back from doing a ton of filming in New York, and you literally just landed and got home. So I appreciate you jumping on here for everybody. So give everybody just a few minutes, or just a little bit of advice that you would say, you know, if somebody's going through what you were going through, you know, maybe the younger version of yourself that didn't have any furniture, that was with what would you say to people to help them along the way?
You know, probably two things that help the most. Number one, I wrote down gratitude every single day. Like, it sounds like the hokiest thing in the world, but there's a lot of psychology behind it too. But that's what happened. Somebody gave me a book and said, write down 10 things you're grateful for. The day I found out I had cancer. And I was like, well, you're not going to be in the book. You're a dick. Like, I was kind of like, I don't feel grateful today. I feel pissed.
Right.
You know? And, but that's not true. I wrote down 10 things every single day, and it allowed me to not focus on, hey, I don't have enough money. Hey, I don't have any idea how I'm going to get through this. Hey, how am I going to take care of my kids when I want to vomit every day?
Right.
You know, there were all these things that if people really knew how bad it was, they might like stop crying a little bit about their life. But I didn't even realize how bad it was because I was so focused on gratitude. And I think the other thing was this. The first person I told kept contacting me and being like, can you slow down? Do you want me to bring soup? And I was like, oh my God, like, no, I'm not telling anybody else. Right. And so I kind of secluded myself into this little positivity world of, I'm going to be great. I'm going to eat better. I'm going to take care of myself, like all of these positive things. And so this is just kind of rule of thumb. When you're in the shit, right? Mm-hmm. You don't bring anybody else into it, right? So if you call everybody and this is so hard and blah, 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 it's going to multiply. It's going to be worse. And so I always give myself like a 24-hour rule. If I'm angry or whatever, I have a kid crawling under me.
Mama's home.
I love it.
Sorry, buddy. I scoot the desk too far back. Usually she goes behind me. Like I have a 24-hour rule. When something's going bad, like I got to do something good, right? Anything's going bad, do something good. Don't bring people into your pit. And by the next day, you'll be like, oh my gosh, I wasted an entire night crying, pouting, whining. It did nothing of solutionizing. Or now I made their night horrible and all they wanted to do is cry. Because I think so many people have this excuse that like, the world tells them, you got to get it out. You got to get it out. You got to vomit on people. You can't hold all that in.
Right.
And who made that rule?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't hold it in. I just turned it into laughter and joy and fun.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I love it.
Let's go do snow angels, right? Rather than, and sometimes I'd lay in the snow or do crazy things. I'd jump out of an airplane. I cried the whole time.
Right.
Going, I don't know if I'm going to get to do this again. And so like tears are running out of my face, but it was joy as opposed to, hey, everybody be sad for me. I'm really sick. And, you know, so I think it's all how you choose to attack life. And what took me from a tent to this is my new tent. It's all right.
It's better than all right. If anybody gets a chance to go over and follow her. By the way, she's going to be joining us on stage, one of the very, very hand-picked speakers for Unstoppable in February in Florida. So if you want to hear more from her, then you can join us there for sure. But I just thank you for coming in. I wanted everybody to hear a little bit about your story and the fact that you are one of the funnest people that I have the joy to be around whenever our hugely busy, schedules allow us to be in the same city. It's always fun. So thanks for giving us a little bit of your time tonight. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for what you're doing. Jason, you're changing the world. You make us all laugh. Tamara, what a pleasure to meet you. However I can help. Let's help the world make it through.
Amen.
Let's do it. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Danelle. Love you.
Bye.
Bye.
We have another guest.
Do we already?
Yes.
Oh, well, I wonder who it could be. So again, like tonight, the people that make me laugh the most, the people that are behind the scenes, because Danelle, with Danelle, she and I kind of have come up through the ranks, through the speaking ranks, so to speak, right? At different realms. I did my stint with business. She did hers in sales. And this guy that I'm about to bring on screen is somebody who's been with me in the god awfulest times. I for him and him for me. And one of the things that was common about you, about Danelle, about him is that there's no quit. And if there's no quit, then there might as well be a sense of hilarity. And so Eric and I have you guys, if you want to bring him on, this is Eric Michael Collins, one of my best friends in the world.
Hello.
Hello.
Is that silly LV hat that you bought?
I put it on and I swapped out my hat and I got sexy for you, Jason. So I got my velour on, so you have plenty of ammo to shoot it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think it was the bag. You had a bag too, right, or something?
No.
Louis Vuitton?
No bag. Just a beanie that I went on 5 continents to try and find over like 2 years when we were traveling together. So
yeah. When did you finally actually get that beanie?
Dude, I have no idea actually.
I think it was in Rome when we were trying to outrun. Right. What?
I think you're right.
I think that I am right. Matter of fact, so there's lots of great stories, Tamara, that he and I could go through. That particular one, we were literally running away from people that were trying to rob us on the way to the airport in Ghana, Africa, and we had security. We had the president's security guard that was guarding us, and we got on the plane. I was so stressed out. And he was so stressed out when we got to Italy. He's like, I think I'm going to get married.
Actually, they came to shoot up the police station.
Right.
And so we bounced out of there, and the first place out was Rome. And I called my girlfriend at the time from the tarmac, and we were supposed to be in country a month. We were there like 2 days because we lost the upper hand, And we were like, okay, I called her from the tarmac. You want to come meet me in Rome? She's like, sure. So as soon as she said yes, then I was like, dude, we got to find a diamond, man. We got to find a rock and, get this going. So
and that's what we did. We went around Rome and found a really nice ring. And then I got sick as a dog because I think all the stress hit me at one time. He's like, you got to come film me asking her to marry me, proposing to her at the Trevi Fountain in Rome. And I was like, okay. So anyway, but one of the things, again, it's common. So Eric, just a little bit of his backstory. You know, he decided that he wanted to, you know, he's I don't know, how tall are you? What, 6 foot?
6'3".
6'3" or something like that. He decided that he wanted to dive off of a yacht into 5'6" water, and ended up snapping his neck in several places, and it didn't hurt his. Good thing he hit his head, because if it would have hit anywhere else, he probably would have been in trouble because he's hard-headed. But you know, and broke his neck. It just took his life in a whole other direction. Right. You know, you can tell a little bit about your story, bro, and then, you know, bring it up to here, and then I'll talk about the funny stuff.
Yeah, I mean, for I don't know, you know, exactly what motivates Jason, but I mean, after a while, once you've, you know, made enough money and lost enough money and helped other people make money, you know, helping them make an extra 10, 50, 100, you know, $250,000 is nice. But the thing that really gets me passionate is, you know, helping to free up their time, helping, you know, business owners or entrepreneurs actually become business owners. They're not addicted, you know what I mean, to their business anymore, getting all their personal needs fulfilled from it. And, you know, there was something that always resonated with me was, you know, I was your prototypical hustler, right? Like more time, more this, more that. And the goalpost was always moved, right? If I could just get to this point or that point, then I'd be happy, right? And, you know, I'm sure a story that many people have lived. And so, and I had a big pit in my soul that, you know, I just threw money and booze and drugs and women and more and opulence, you know, until finally there was just too much strain and I had a nervous breakdown. I was hospitalized a couple times in a period of a couple months. And, you know, I just take such sincere, you know, pride now in helping, you know, those entrepreneurs that are just putting too much stress on the chain. Mm-hmm. And they've got these beliefs that if they just put more and more and more energy into it, somehow magically their broken strategies and processes and, you know, everything will suddenly start working. And that's just not the case. And, you know, I made a commitment to myself, you know, that I would always be there for just about everything for my kids. So that's been my standard, you know, is
well, and you overcame, you know, some radical things. I mean, when I met you, you were addicted to several things.
Oh yeah, I mean, I went from a couple 8 balls of cocaine, you know, in an evening, and you know, drinking 40, 50 shots in an evening, you know, smoking a pack a day. I mean, terribly destructive habits, and I quit all of that with the godsend, the opportunity that Jason gave me of him inviting me to, you know, help him turn around a company that he was working on, and he said he would help turn around my life, and he did, and I went from just the worst place I'd ever been in my life 4 months later, living with him, to, you know, the absolute best place I'd ever been. Up until
well, and he's a, you know, you're a great father, you're a great husband, like, you know, all of this stuff. Like, I watched you basically come from being a kid to where you are right now, and I couldn't be more proud. But one of the things that is common, again, I just want to bring this out for people, is that you have people in your life that when you are having conversations, they're there for your wins, right? Because Eric, there's not very many people that I can call and say, hey, you know what, went really, really great. You know, there's not that many people he can call, and because they just want to shit on your parade a lot, right? And then there's also the other side of it, which when things are going bad, there's a lot more company for whatever reason when things go bad. But if you're addicted to like you are, Tamara, and like Eric is, and like Danelle is, if you become addicted to progress, then your circle shrinks, and the people inside that circle become the most valuable asset. Gold, diamonds, platinum, all melted together cannot equal the power of a good friend. So, you know, and then also on top of that is that we can laugh about everything. It's the shit that we like. Again, he came down, and when I was in LA filming some stuff, came down, all we did was laugh the whole entire time, you know? And so talk a little bit about your sense of humor, where it came from, and how it's helped you through some of your dark times.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what's coming up for me is, when I was young, I moved around a lot. I had a fairly abusive stepfather, and you know, it was one of those things where I was always kind of the outcast, right? No matter where I moved from here to the mountains, from the mountains to Florida, to wherever. So I was always kind of the outcast. And then I was a little, you know, smarter than the average kids, so I ended up, you know, skipping some grades and doing some stuff. So I was just always kind of like desperately trying to fit in, and you know, with some father challenges, you know, I often use, you know, comedy and building up that comedic ability through the fact that I was trying to mask, you know, something that I was trying to make up for, or some inadequacy, or, you know, to break tension or kind of hide the depression that I was feeling. And so I got really exceptionally good at that, at covering up, you know, what was just beneath the surface. And more, you know, now that I've kind of, you know, my wife said, you know, a big part of why I married you is because you're funny. You know, your humor.
Had to be something besides you.
You know what I mean? Goodness. To stick around after all these years, you know. Yeah. But more and more as I kind of like grown, I've evolved. I see that in other people, and I see their suffering. And I see, and I'm so good at it, you know what I mean? That like, I can go, okay, I know that this person's, you know, unhappy and struggling with something, and maybe they need, you know, somebody to reach out, and that feels good, because I don't think that those people are used to that, because they're usually just masking it, and everybody looks at the surface and just kind of glosses over. And those people are usually the ones that need the most help.
That's right.
So, you know, not sure how that ties in, but
well, it ties in well, you know, because at the end of the day, it becomes, the true comedy comes from a place of selflessness, right? And it comes from a place of intellect. And I've just seen that as you've grown, and you know, and as a father and a husband and a friend, you know, to me and to Sean and to, you know, multiple other people. I'm just proud to call you my brother. And thanks for last minute, agreeing to come on here. But
thanks, bro.
Yeah, I love you, brother, and you have a good night. Thank you very much for showing up. Appreciate you.
Love you too, man. Anytime.
Okay, buddy. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
And he's out. So
he's out. Yes.
So again, a little different angle, you know, from because I had an idea, and then I was like, you know what? I think that the power of comedy is so powerful, because it like I was just telling Eric, it starts out with the idea that whatever you're structuring, you're putting time, energy, and effort into the idea of making someone else laugh, right? And that's a selfless act. Now, there's two sides of comedy, just like there's two sides of pretty much anything. There's a lot of nonsense going out there in comedy today that just the most shock value, the most disgusting, the most gross thing that you can possibly say is the thing that supposedly makes people laugh. And I believe that true comedy makes you laugh, makes you think, and heals a little bit of the wound inside, right? And that's what I you know, the angle that I wanted to go, because you're so inspirational to me. Yes, Teresa, let's raise some money.
Yeah.
Cat knows this was who dinged his wife's Porsche. But you know, so when you think about comedy from that perspective, and you think about it, it's improved. If you were going to improve a skill set in your life, being funnier is one of those things that you can improve upon, right? It means that you're going to take a look and you're going to look at the things. And the funniest thing that you can do, don't try to copy anybody. When, you know, I had an awesome opportunity to talk to Steve Martin for a little bit, and have a conversation with him about comedy. And one of the things that he said was, you got to be yourself. You know, you want to be on the front end of a new wave instead of the back end of an old one. And so when you're thinking about, okay, how can I improve my life? If I'm depressed, if I'm upset, when I think of the people that have gone through chemo and that are facing down cancer and sickness and disease and of any kind, right? When you're thinking about that, what better way? Because we're, like I said in the beginning of this, none of us are getting out of this thing alive. So how you play the game is 1000% up to you, right? It's up to me.
Yes.
It's up to you. 1000% of the rules. So you can be miserable if you like, you know, suffering. Like, I can't remember who the great person that said it. Pain is inevitable. Suffering is a choice.
True.
Right?
Yeah.
Pain is inevitable. We're all going to feel it. We're going to have our hearts broken. We're going to get sick. We're going to break bones. We're going to lose loved ones. We're going to lose money. We're going to lose our job. We're going to do, these types of things are going to happen to everybody. And when I think about the greatest thing that this world has to offer, the greatest thing God, the universe, whoever it is or whatever it is that you believe, is that we have this, or she has given us this sense of humor, to be able to laugh through it, to be able to instantaneously, no matter how sad you are, no matter how much pain you're feeling, no matter how much you're shrinking inside of yourself, to laugh means to go out loud, to be filled with joy for a moment, to whether you're extracting that laughter from someone or you're the one that's having the laughter extracted from you. Both parties win, right? Both parties win. And so that's the power of comedy, and it's changed my life. I mean, ever since I decided to do this go this direction and go this angle, the idea is that if you're going through cancer, if you're suffering with something, it doesn't sound like, I mean, again, here's something funny that I was thinking about when we were going to get ready to do the show. I decided to become a comedian because I wanted to expand the platform and the ease suffering in the world of human trafficking, specifically the sex trade of underage children, to feed people that are starving around the world, which every 4 seconds there's someone dropping dead of hunger, and to work in the world of domestic violence. All three of those, and women being held in their houses and having their teeth knocked out and being, they're they are prisoners in their own home.
Yes.
And how much pain goes into those subjects and how much pain it causes people. And to say, I think how I'm going to, and I just, as I was thinking about this today, my antidote, sorry, not my anecdote. An anecdote is a story, but my antidote to those things was to become a comedian. Right. The darkest subjects in the world, cancer and trafficking and hunger and domestic violence. The idea was, all right, if we can find some shit to laugh about and bring each other together in this world where if you're a Democrat, by God, you're the devil. If you're a Republican, by God, you're the devil, right? Bullshit. We're all people. And we all are looking for love, and we all have love to extend to other people. And if we start thinking of it in terms, it's the greatest business advice, financial advice, relationship advice that I can give anyone. Don't take my relationship advice. I'm not a relationship coach. But what I will tell you is that if you spend your life trying to make your significant other, I think I saw Emily on here before, but if you spend a majority of your time looking to make your significant other laugh, the relationship is gonna be good. You know what I mean? It's gonna be good. Now you might get tired of the person's jokes or whatever, but that's the whole point of being a comedian. You don't see Kevin Hart doing the same routine over and over and over again, or we wouldn't love Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart does comedy and he keeps it fresh. He's putting effort and energy into the relationship with his audience. Right? How about you? Right? How much suffering? I said a long time ago, one of the lines that really got me rolling was that it's almost impossible to feel pain while you're standing in someone else's. Right? It's almost impossible to feel pain if you're standing in someone else's. That means that you have to get outside of yourself. And what I've seen around the world, what I've seen across stages, multi-millions of people around this world, that when you decide to get outside of yourself, your suffering decreases, right? My favorite book, my favorite book by what's the guy's name? Is Man's Search for Meaning. what's the guy's name? Man, search for meaning. I've said his name so many times, but it's Viktor Frankl. Sorry. So Viktor Frankl, Man, Search for Meaning. He gets ripped out of his life and stuck into a concentration camp where people are being thrown in ovens to be killed and dying of starvation and disease and all that kind of stuff. And he said this one line, right? This one line: I was more free than my captors. Because the thing that people forget about, there's no pill, there's no doctor, there's no politician, there's no amount of money, there's no workout, there's no amount of abs that you're going to ever have. There's none of that that's ever going to be able to take the place of you just deciding to be happy where you are, to be happy where you sit, to be happy with who you are and what your situations are. I'm not talking about being satisfied, right? Being satisfied is another complete thing where you've given up on life. I'm not saying do not be satisfied, but what you do want to do is you want to be happy where you are. And that's a fucking decision. It's a decision that every single person on the face of the planet gets to make. Whether you've got cancer, you're an example. Right? Whether you got divorced and you've got this tiny little apartment that has no furniture for your kids, that was a choice Danelle made, right? And you've got Eric, who dove in and snapped his neck and decided that he was, after he went crazy, literally got put into an insane asylum for a period of time, right? To go through what he goes through. A lot of people that are watching this, I'm trying to look at some of the names. We got Coach Chuck, we've got everybody that is watching this has had some shit happen to them that brought them to their knees. And so at the end of the day, what's Skip saying?
He says, question, so many comedians' content are being censored, banned at a college. Seems so touchy. Almost seems like comedy past has been stamped out. People seem afraid to laugh again, like the book burning.
Yeah, he's exactly right. And here's what I would say to everybody that ends up watching this around the country, around the world, is that you must stand behind your comedians. There's some nasty ones, but here's the thing. Even the nasty ones have got the right to speak, okay? And when you're talking about college campuses, the very beginning of fascism throughout history, and this is where intellect comes into it. The beginning of fascism is when you kill the jester, okay? When you have a king that had a jester that he could not take the truth from, that jester was murdered, okay? And that is fascism. Fascism is the inability for you to be able to make a decision and say, that's not something I want to watch, so I'm going to go over here. What it is I need to be making myself a victim, and because you believe a different way than me, I will shut you down, right? You have to think the same way that I think. That is pure, unadulterated fascism, and it begins with our comedians. We cannot murder our jesters, or our world we won't be able to recover. We'll end up going down that socialist communist path that nobody's ever recovered from, right? We're watching Venezuela right now. What do? They get rid of the people that have their public opinion in the newspaper, and they get rid of the comedians because they can't say what they want to say. Right? And the greatest Shakespeare, what was he famous for? He wrote, if you go back through all the greatest playwrights, they were able to say and talk about the ills in the society that they lived through the written word and through play acting. Mm-hmm. First thing that you get rid of is any information, any form of entertainment, from movies to plays to comedy to any form of the arts, because what it does is it displays another way of thinking. It gives somebody else a way of verbalizing something that they may feel needs to be expressed. So he's exactly right. I don't know. It's a tangent I wasn't planning on going down.
Well, you're his guy. He loves you, and it's a vice versa, Skip, because he was already telling you he loved what you did with the opening act video, and I love the production that they were able to put together to say, hey, we're here, we're standing firm and strong that we are making Giving Tuesday. I mean, yes, we piggybacked into it because we're making a 36-hour. We want to be, break more records. We did last year by doing it 24 hours, doing 36 hours to say, we are here. We're going to make a difference. We're a movement going forward. And yes, I love what you were sharing about the fact that we can do it sooner than later. But, we're doing it one way or another. There's no question. We're going forward. There's no question that while I'm here, this is going forward, and we are going to change the way things are done. Because you know what? Too many people, like the examples of the people, your friends that came on, Eric and Danielle, that they both have stories with broken neck, with cancer, with all the different things that happen. Life happens. It's how we move through it. And having an organization, a movement that right now, the Buddies Network, yes, we're concentrating on cancer, but who's to say that that's where we end? Because
Tamara, it's people loving people. You know what I mean? And you've given it a format. Like I get goosebumps when I think about what you're actually doing, and what you've done is you've given a format to say, okay, yes, there's a title here, Chemo Buddies for Life, right? There's cancer that's involved, but what it is it's saying people just love each other. You know what I mean? Just like. And I mean, I wish people could understand, like, my life. When I was thinking about myself in my life, it was so small, Tamara. I was such an asshole. People would still, might argue that I still am, but my point is that it was so tiny because I was so worried. What do they think about me? Am I making the right amount of money? Do I live in the right sort of place? Do I live in the right, zip code? I don't know if I can be seen talking to Tamara or to Rayanne or to Emily or to, like it's this bunch of bullshit that doesn't matter. And then what that does is it drives you into this country being the most medicated for depressants than all of the other countries in the world combined. Right? We're drugging ourselves because we started to say, if I feel bad, oh my God, like somebody give me a pill. If I feel bad, oh my God, I can't feel bad. Bullshit. Like, feeling bad is one of the greatest gifts that you can ever be given, to say, turn the fuck around. Right. Like, take a left turn. Feeling bad is a good thing. It tells us that we're around the wrong people, that we're off path, because we were all. Here's the thing that I know, Tamara, and you've seen this to be true, is that every person watching this, every person that will ever watch this or is walking around, was born with something that they can do that nobody else can.
Right.
And it's so buried underneath of them trying to be like other people, right? And what I'm saying is you've created this amazing box for people to come in and be loved, right? And so many people are out there, it gets a bad rap. I mean, I can remember when I was a gangster, when I was dealing drugs, when I was doing the bad stuff in my life, that, love, love, yeah, let's just love each other, thinking to myself,
yeah, I can hear that attitude. You said that a few times. Yeah.
Right.
But yes.
Yeah.
That's a 4-letter word I can get behind.
It's a 4-letter word. And you know why I thought that? Because I was a fucking coward. That I know that in order to genuinely love, I have to reveal myself. Right. And for me to reveal myself and to show underneath of there that there's a broken human being, somebody that has done things wrong, that has made things, that has made bad decisions, that has lost money, that hasn't been perfect my entire life. Like, that if I reveal myself, now I am vulnerable. Right. And what if I'm not loved back? Right. There's a saying, something about being known and loved. It's like they're just giant. It's a big difference. And then if you're known and not loved, it's the equivalent of death for people. And so we don't open ourselves up. We don't reveal that heart. And the very thing that when we become vulnerable, that is a power that I don't care if you know, the most badass gangster that I ever stepped in front of on the face of the planet, and somebody like a Mother Teresa or somebody that, or like you, that genuinely opens your heart to love, they're not, I'm not afraid of them anymore. The work that I do, the death threats that I get because of the work that I do, the constant surveillance that I have to have on my family, the different things that I have to do, I'm not afraid of these fuckers. You know why? Because I have love from you. I have love from me. I have love from our community. I have the ability to laugh. I have the ability to go out and to make social statements through comedy that people need to hear, right? That make a difference. If you think about some of the greatest comedians in the world, the greatest impactors, the greatest difference in the world is that they were comedians, right? They were comedians. And so it is what it is. When you're living in your purpose, it will live beyond you. I've been asked a lot, what happens if you die on one of these things, Jason, blah, blah, blah. Then I died and I left a great example for my children of somebody who lived a life and did not fucking cower and did not act like a chicken shit and step back because of what people thought of me. I know what my purpose is. I know what my outcome is. And by God, I'm going to live it, right? Every single day, every breath that I take. And you're doing the same thing. And that's what, the whole point of us doing this show is to unleash that shit in other people. Yes, unleash your fucking wallet. Yes, put some money in the till here because we need it. We must have it because it's a lifeblood of being able to create the resources to bring these people together, to educate them, to connect them, to be able to take somebody and say, you know what, don't worry about your rent for the next 6 months while you're in the hospital. You know what, here, let us help you take care of your daycare, deal while your kids are there, while you're laying in bed. Hey, you know what? Don't worry about the food for your family for 5 or 6 months because, we got you covered. Right? Go and heal. Go and beat the shit out of this thing, and to infuse them into Misfit Nation to be able to surround them by love. I've seen Misfit Nation come in and just swoop in and go, "Hi, I love you." Right? On different people, on different situations, on different charities, and that's what they do. You know what I mean? That's what they do. They come in and they love the shit out of people as much as they possibly can, to a point where it irritates some people, right?
I love it. I love it. Well, we've got 2 minutes left to our break.
I own the clock.
I know no one's going to want to have this in. However, the good news is you are coming back, right? Yes.
Sure.
Yes, coming back for 2 hours at the very end of the show with others too. Wink, wink.
Wink, wink.
Winkety wink.
And I can promise you that shit's going to be funny.
Oh, yeah. You talk about a wild ride. You're talking Mr. Toad's wild ride, and that doesn't have anything. This is going to be even much better. So, what I want to do is say thank you, Jason. Jason Sisneros, you absolutely are. You are all of that and so many more bags of chips than anybody could ever say you would be. Because, in truth, I've told you and I've told some that I entered the next impactor, the next global impactor, because your face was on that poster. And I'm like, I'm going to win and I'm going to get to work with Jason. And I won and I get to work with you. And
it's the blessing is all mine. I want to try to honor your clock, which I don't really care if we go over, but maybe the next guest does, but I don't want to steal any of their time.
It's Julie Christopher, and she's wonderful, and she'll be good with it. So if we're a few minutes over, I'm sure she'll understand.
Good. I think Tamara froze. Let's see what's happening down here.
I'm back.
Okay, good. Okay. You froze.
you
We're
know,
back.
yeah, I'm back.
I was starting to do a little song dance and stuff
I love
while
it.
you were
The
gone.
song, yeah, I love it. And I have to say, Skip keeps going on and on about, oh, please tell you to, speak your mind, and that, oh, get him animated. Why don't you, Tamara? So
Right.
yeah, and I love this because the bottom line is this: is that we are doing this. It's not a matter of if. It's not a matter of even when. It is now, because it is that person that today is hearing that they need us. We are here, and we will be able to help that many more in raising the funds. So thank you for bringing your energy here and your friends, and let's do this, guys, because I actually, when you asked me a number and I threw the number out, I thought, okay, that's a real reasonable number. 50,000, that's a reasonable number to raise. We need to really step up the game, because
it needs to be 500,000. You know what I mean? It needs to be 1 million. When you think about the resources that people need and the tragedies they're going through. And here's the thing, Tamara. Look, people are just starting to find out about you. They're just starting to find out about you, but you're going to be one of those global brands, because you're trustworthy, because you're transparent, because you are actually looking to put the money into the people that are suffering, right? And that's the entire purpose. That's why we resonate. That's why the people that follow you resonate with you. It's because our job is to ease suffering in the world. Period. End of sentence. And the best way that we do that is by love, and love tells you to true love is sacrificial, right? True love is giving. True love is forgiving. True love is kind. All of those things that we know about, but true love is sacrificial. Time is our biggest sacrifice that we can make by loving another human being. Money, the resources that we have to go in to be able to pay somebody's bills, because you can't look. Here's one of the things that I know about the work that I do, is that good intentions and awareness do not pay the bills.
True.
They'll pay the bills.
True.
So I have no shame in my game for saying, pull out your wallet, let's donate, let's put some money into this thing, because the main reason I wanted to be here was to say, stamp of approval from the Bald Avenger, and that means something in this world. Yeah, I trust you with all of my heart, and I love you, and I believe that this organization is going to go on and do miraculous things, as it already has for the people that you've touched. So thank you for having me here. Thank you for trusting me to come in and to push this a little bit. And man, if you think this was something, wait till you get those final 2 hours.
Oh, it's going to be fun. So you guys, you got to stick around. I am. So stick around with me, and we are going to do this. So Jason, thank you. See you in a few hours. Wink, wink.
Wink, wink. All right. Well, and good luck to your next guest. Love her. And you guys are going to have an amazing time.
Oh, we will. We always do. All right. Bye.
Bye.